Hi everybody, we on /conf and now we find Robert. Robert, hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Please introduce yourself to our viewers who maybe don't know you now and tell about your project, about Zalando.
Yeah. So my name is Robert. I'm co-founder, co-CEO of Zalando. So Zalando is the biggest fashion platform in Europe. So we're active in 15 European companies. We do roughly about 3 billion in revenues. So it's a massive company. We just have had our 7th birthday, so we're 7 years old. We're about 16 million customers, so like 3 times Finland that we help get dressed every year. And we have about 9,000 employees, over 9,000 employees that work with us. We're quite a big employer in Berlin, so we're one of the biggest employers in Berlin, but we're an international employer. So we have just recently opened up here a tech hub here in Helsinki, which already has 30 people, and we're working on the future of mobile applications here in Finland.
And what do you think about go to Russia and make some office wear and try to... because in Russia we have some startups similar with Zalando, but maybe Zalando plan to go to Russia.
Yeah, so in terms of doing business in Russia, we have considered it in the past, but we always thought that within Europe, where we can actually deliver like more efficiencies because we have a central inventory and central warehouse hub, and we can send like quite quickly the packages. It was like the priorities were more on Europe than going outside of Europe, because it was just the market is big enough, so it's a 400 billion euro market. So therefore we haven't yet considered going to Russia, but maybe in the future at one point in time we will.
Okay, so can you tell a little bit about how you start and what most difficult parts was on the way to success?
So we started 7 years ago. So it was my co-founder and myself. So we before we started Zalando, we had a different experience, like an entrepreneurial experience which didn't go great. And therefore, the basic learning out of this experience, which was a Latin American social network, was that we wanted to start the next business that we wanted to start is actually something that we can measure, like e-commerce, that you can explain to your parents and they understand as well what you're doing. So this was like of a prerequisite of the second start that we can do. And this was Zalando. So we started out directly in the financial crisis, so we had a really tough start. So our first financing was about 50,000 euros, so it was very, very limited. We went live in October 2008, which was directly at the financial crisis when it hit, so there was basically no money out there. So the first 1.5 years we really had to stay very lean in terms of everything what we did. And then after like 1.5 years when it loosened a bit and we could provide very great numbers, small but great numbers. And then we got a first bigger financing round then by October 2009, which was I think roughly about 20 million euro, and then we could scale. And that was a crazy time. 2010 was a crazy time. We did like 2 million in demand, so in gross revenue in February, then like 30 million in May, and then 70 million in October. So it was just an insane year.
You work for 24 hours.
25 hours per day. Yeah.
And could you tell, please, it's interesting, you and your partner in the beginning, he was tech people, maybe you was the programmers and you make a first version by yourself or no, or you didn't program it?
So my background is not in engineering, so I'm a business background. However, when we started out, actually, to assemble like the first webshop, which is not a big task, so you just have to do some HTML and a good platform for it. So the first webshop, which is actually a flip-flop webshop, I assembled on my own, but it was always clear that we need like an engineering team that can actually do that, because I'm not an engineer by background.
Okay, and maybe because if you're not an engineer, maybe you didn't, what programming stack use in what programming language right?
Yeah, first of all, we used PHP. Yeah, so this was the first one. Then we later on switched to JavaScript. Yeah. So actually today it's a lot more mixed. So today we have a lot more autonomy within the engineering team. So there are There's some engineering teams that work with completely different languages now, with the more advanced languages, because they just love these languages. So what we just make sure that everything is getting interconnected.
And how many people worked in Zalando now?
So we have more than 9,000 people working with us. Our engineering team is like roughly about 800 now.
And last question, maybe you can suggest something to our viewers, to young startups. What the most important words? What do you think? Can you say for young people who just started? On what focused, maybe?
Yeah. I think there's tons of good advice that you can give. Obviously, try not to quote like the obvious, like I don't know, believe in your vision and so on. But I think what has helped out a lot for us was that we always were very humble in that sense of respecting the challenges that you have. Yeah, and always questioning yourself: are you really focusing on the right stuff? Are you good enough for making this next step happening? And in case you're not, what kind of people do you need in order to make the next step happen? Yeah? So, and I think it's pretty much okay, and it's that you as founder that you're not good at everything. Yeah, so and you shouldn't be good at anything, but that you identify your weakness by yourself, and for this weakness get the right people on board that can help you in doing that. And I think this for us was very important.
So the most important is team, yeah? Make a great team.
Make a great team, but start with yourself, identify what kind of are your biggest weaknesses, and then hire exactly for these weaknesses. And always have the company in mind. What is the most important for a company to be performing?
And you and your partner are different, yes? And you have some you cool in one and your partner cool in another, yes? And
exactly.
Complicated.
So we have actually, but my partner and myself, we realized that there was one important strength missing, which was the organizational structural strength. So therefore, we asked a good friend of ours, about 1 year after the company was founded, to join our team, which actually had exactly this kind of strengths of structuring it, I guess without him, actually our IPO would never have happened, because it would have just been a complete chaos. So I think those kind of strengths you always have to figure out what are the strengths that you have and what are not the strengths, and then reshuffle as well. What's kind of the importance of special aspects of the company. So for example, the marketing I did for a long time, and just handed over the brand marketing team now to my partner David, because he's a lot more creative than I am. Yeah? So in the first instance, it was a lot more about getting the voice out, making it more aggressive, loud, and that was probably the right one. I was heading it, and then now it's a lot more about making it emotional, making consumers love the brand. And now David is a lot more the better guy for managing this department, and it works out. Yeah? So as well, your strengths that don't always reflect in terms of the teams that you lead.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.